Well, let's not talk about bad clients. I want to talk about bad products. What is Ben van der Giesen's? What do you think is the most overhyped product you're seeing in the market at the moment?
Um, Geez, that's tough, man, because I mean, look, generally we wouldn't release something that, we thought other people didn't like. Like we, you know,
Well,
we
I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about anything you're seeing out there. Someone else is selling, and maybe you don't want to put it on the Facebook post, but somebody posts, and you're like, nah, man, that's rubbish.
Oh man, in terms of an industry product, I, I don't really know. I mean, look, I think all equipment, like OEM equipment, mowers and everything. I think they all kind of have their place. Um, I mean, I don't even know of any spare parts or anything that I've ever really looked at and said that's a really crappy product. Not in our market. I don't think so. Like, look, I've got my thoughts on products that are in America. Um, things that we've tried and sort of thought like, mate, this is not even close to what I thought it would be, and I don't even know how they got a business. So one example, I feel comfortable saying this, would be the Cujo shoes. Have you ever heard of Cujo?
I
Cujo?
have. Hmm.
Yeah, so we tried to strike up a deal with Cujo, and we got some samples in, and that they've got what they call a yard shoe, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't really like the look of it, like I kind of felt like a bit of a nerd wearing it. Um, but the boot, there's a lot of hype around this boot, and um, from the minute I opened up the box, I just was like whoa, like it looked like a space boot. Um, it kind of felt like a moon boot. Like I just didn't see, and this is a hugely successful company. Um, so, but it in the Australian market, um, I don't know. I think everything. Nothing comes to mind. Does anything come to mind for you?
I do, but I prepared for this. So
Okay.
I was having a chat with now this is not gonna be good if somebody at this brand wants to sponsor us. But there's a brand called Solo that make very high quality, expensive sprays. Okay. And I definitely believe that they make high quality stuff. I bought one of their 18-liter Solo sprayers. I'll chuck it on the screen. I'm not actually trying to diss the brand here, but I think you just got to be open and honest about stuff sometimes. This sprayer here, if I go into this page, you can see it. There's a few different options. I haven't used all the ones that are on the screen here, but you're looking at 400 to $430 for this sprayer, right? The 417 Li 18 because it's 18 liters, right? Anyways, the thing about this, it's not a it sprays fine. It's a battery sprayer. It's got all the bells and whistles. There's two things wrong with it. When you start running low, right, if you turn slightly, you get an airlock. And I don't know if you ever had an airlock in a sprayer, but it just stops pumping. And you've got to like jiggy around and find the perfect angle, and you end up getting to a space. And I've heard multiple people say this, where you end up spraying your last couple of liters with one strap on because the hole is on one side. And when you walk, it swishes back and forth, right? And so it pulls in the air. You get this airlock, right? Now, I cut mine apart and modified the hose and everything to try and fix it as much as possible. Worked a little bit, still happens. Then the last thing is if you don't put it on one shoulder, right, because the thing's on one side, you can't get all the liquid. You're always left with like 1.5, 2 liters worth left of liquid, unless you're doing this sort of jimmy sort of thing. And when you're spraying herbicides, you want to be as precise and professional as possible. So For large areas, I thought it'd be amazing because it's 18 litres, 3 litres more than what most others get. Battery powered, you can run a double nozzle on it, like it's powerful enough. There's a lot of things about it that were good. I just really hope they bring out a new model, and I'm not trying to. This product's been out for years. I'm not saying anything that's not already been said on the internet. You know, like people have talked about this, but I still see people recommend that product sometimes, and I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, man, it's $400. Give me the $190 Sylvan Pro Grade sprayer from Bunnings over that. It's half the price. Yes, you have to pump, but it's just a reliable sprayer. So that's the one that I think is a little overhyped. I've seen it on the internet, and sometimes it's because Solo will do these, you know, they'll sponsor somebody like a YouTube influencer or somebody, and they use it a couple of times, and you don't always get the airlock every time you use it. So I can totally see how some people would use it. They don't have a problem, and then yeah. Anyway, that's one of my most overhyped products, I think. When was the last time, or do you remember a time where you were using something like you got a demo from somebody, or you went to a dealer or something like that, and you used something you hadn't used before, and you were super impressed? Because I know a lot of the time what happens is like you use a whippy and like, you know, back in the day, still set the standard, and then everybody's sort of caught up, or, you know, Echo did some great stuff, Shindai or whatever. But to be honest, these days, there's not too much difference between that higher end brand. So sometimes you sort of use something like, yeah, it's good, you know, it's not bad, I can't fault it. But when was the last time that you were actually really impressed? Something truly blew you away?
So it wasn't the last time, but I'm just going to give you an example, and it's the Bush Ranger residential battery equipment. So I'm telling you, like, I got invited to a commercial shoot for Bush Ranger, and it was the first time that we ever really made contact with Bush Ranger and Paul Sheehan for that matter. So before then, um, I knew of them, they knew of me, but we were not on any level at all. But I did get invited to go. And funny story, I actually I believe I wore a Skag shirt. Like, what an asshole, right? So anyway, I've gone to this thing and I've seen this battery equipment, and I'm just standing there with Paul, and we hit it off straight away. He's a great guy, right? So I picked up this gear and I'm just kind of messing with the multi-tool, like the snipper. And I was like, sheesh, like, and then, started messing a little bit, and I started doing my own little bit of testing and little bits and stuff. And I said, Paul, I said, this stuff is fantastic. Can I take some with me? And he said, look, Ben, this is a residential line, and it's not really going to fit in with what you want to do. And I said, Paul, just give me a day with the stuff. Like, I get it. They don't want to promote it to the contractor, right? But just let me play with it. And I'm telling you, like, I can't remember how long I was in business for after that with Greenscapes, but I ran that equipment in my business every day. Like, and I still have the blower that I still have all of it, but like the same blower BJ went and bought, and we had one at the village, like, so this is a residential spec. So that's just one example, but the last time I was really impressed was actually their commercial range, when that whippersnipper. Now, I know people will have their thoughts on what I'm saying, because obviously I market stuff for them, but we really, like, you won't see me associating my name with something that is actually shit. And I can give you an example, and it probably goes back to your original question of what was something that underperformed. This has just kind of sparked that for me. But the Ego telescopic hedge trimmer, it's got, so anyway, we got to play around with one, and I knew after 10 minutes that this probably wasn't going to be a machine that I could recommend to anyone. And I've stuck by that, and I've given that feedback to Ego. This particular tool is it's telescopic, so that's great. It does have a chainsaw that you can put on, which I think is the only situation that you can use this. But the blade speed is down. It's very heavy and cumbersome, and the layout of the machine is not correct to use in a hedge trimming environment. So um, that was, now that you say it, that was one piece. But in terms of being blown away, like, people need to go and try that Bush Ranger commercial battery whippersnipper and tell me where I'm wrong, because it is like, it's a game changer.
Well, one of the ways that I was blown away, I've posted about this online before, but we use Mowmaster stuff, and that's big, heavy cylinder mowers. And I've had problems with my back, which is why I've been out of the industry or out of the field. For a couple of years, I wasn't doing any work at all. And the Mowmasters are massive, heavy bits of gear. And anyways, we had a lady working for us who she was struggling with some of the Mowmasters, and I had somebody, a great guy, who had bought a smaller Mowmaster, and he had changed the gear ratio so it wasn't so fast. It was a bit more easier to use. And anyways, we were talking, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm not using it much. It's just sitting in my shed. Do you want to buy it?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I wouldn't normally, because it's like a smaller one, and bigger means more efficient and all that sort of stuff. But I thought, look, this might be a good option for this chick who was working with us, and she was a great worker, and we wanted to support her. And anyways, so we bought it secondhand, but it was basically new, and that's now my go-to mower. Now, the lady who was working for us, she had to finish with us due to family reasons. Still, loved having her working with us. It's a shame that she's not with us anymore. But so that mower, I'm like, oh, I'll give it a crack. And the smaller, more nimble, I don't think it is more efficient over the course of a single job, but there's just some scenarios where it's just so much easier to whip in around. It's a 22-inch HC split roller, 10-tooth gear for anybody who knows their Mowmaster stuff and is looking into getting, instead of the 9-tooth gears. Anyways, it's just, I was shocked. I thought, look, I'll use it, but I thought this was for only certain applications. I use it all the time now. So that was last time I was really impressed.
I mean, something else that comes to mind now, just so everyone's clear, like, I've never used this product. I've never put my hands on it, but we do tons of market research, right? And the Toro 30-inch, like, either Time Master or Turf Master, man, I tell you what, like, the feedback on that machine, it blows my mind. Like, I haven't used it, but you see things, and it's like, this machine doesn't cut in the wet. This machine doesn't go up hills. This machine doesn't do long grass. This machine doesn't do this. But next week I'm going out to buy two. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just blows my mind. And then you do see other businesses that are like, this is the best thing I've ever had. It shaves 10 minutes off every job. It does this, and this. So, look, I just think products, we all have different expectations, and we all seem to be getting different results as well. Bad Workwear, the company that we're essentially ambassadors for, like, you have a look on their Facebook, and someone will be like, these boots were the most comfortable boots I've ever put on my feet. And then you see other people, and they're like, these boots made me go to hospital. Which one is it? So it's really tough out there for the consumer, and there's a lot of emphasis these days on influencers swaying people's judgment. But honestly, like, I mean, I know the people that I know that are influencing certain products, and Australia's new to this. America's a little different. If you got like a mad following, then you just get shit thrown at you. But Australia's a bit different. Like most of the influences that we have in Australia in our industry are actual consuming customers. So like they've bought those products and they use those products and they just shared their genuine thoughts and then were approached afterward. That's really the model in Australia. And so I think that it's not really. I think it's pretty genuine in Australia, to be honest.
What's the favorite bit of kit, maybe a lawnmower or something like that you've ever used? It might not be because it was absolutely amazing, right? But it might just be for sentimental reasons, like a bit of gear it just never died. It was always there for you, or something that you bought or you had, and it just cut off so much time. And so every time you're using that machine, it's like that's the one, and you a special spot in your heart.
I've had a lot of babies in my life, man. Like the Honda 195, I believe it is. So I would imagine I bought my first one. I reckon it'd be 21 years ago. That's what was new out in the market, the 195, and like those mowers, they just like it was like an extension of my body part. Like I felt so comfortable with those mowers. Then eventually they brought out the 196, and it was not that different, but it had the metal casing engine. These 195s, they had a plastic case engine, um,
I'm
and
trying to
they
get a
were.
photo up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 195. Oh, mate, I got one out here. Um, so
Is
yeah,
that it?
that's could be the one at the bottom. That could be it. The one at the bottom. Yeah, that one there. That could be it. Actually, no, it's not.
I'm not
So
doing a good job of this. Every
it's a
stream I do, I stuff something up on the. I try and put something up there.
cool, but anyway, it's a 195. So um, I found a guy in Brisbane that restores them and bought like heaps of them for my business. I mean, this is probably going back 10 years now. Um, but that Honda 195, yeah, and I don't think Honda have ever come close to even matching that machine since. Um, I haven't used Honda in a lot of years now, with the exception of my 195. Um, but the product has just, unfortunately, like everything else, it's just not as good as what it was.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes that's sentimental? It's sometimes you have a product that blows you away because it is so much better than everything else, and then everything sort of catches up. So maybe the products are good, but you're just not impressed. Is it a little bit of that, or is it literally the companies are starting to cut corners on cost and they're trying to keep their costs down and they literally don't make things good anymore or as good anymore?
Look, a lot of safety features have compromised the overall feel of a machine. Um, there's so many great features that these machines have now, but like I do think, um, some of these safety features, they're making just everything more bulky. We have emissions and pollution and all of this other stuff that gets thrown into the mix, and it's just not like it was 20 years ago. Um, so lots of people that have started up businesses in the last 5 or 10 years, they probably don't know any different because they might have been running like a domestic Victor or something like
Yeah.
that. um, but all the people that were rocking it 20 years ago, something, a fantastic machine for like 2 decades was the Shindewa T260, and there's still a shitload of them out there. But like the Shindewa Echo, fantastic brand, but just not what it was. Like
Mm.
the quality is still there, but just the feel and the performance is different.
Hey, if you love the podcast, jump on our Patreon. It's the Patreon to keep this podcast going. The link is in the YouTube description.